Hello. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming on. If you like, you can just let me know that you're here in the chat box, and we'll get started shortly. I'll try to be a little bit more organized this time. Okay, 9 o'clock. Yay. All right. Welcome to Tea with Phoebe D. In case you don't know me, I am a women's sexual and emotional empowerment coach. And by empowering, I just mean that you know that you have the choice and the ability to create the life and sexuality that you desire. And basically, I teach women tools to help free themselves from conditioning, fear, shame, things along that line. And I teach them how to fall deeply in love with themselves and with their sexuality. So today I'm going to be talking about the last two questions towards empowerment. So I kind of developed this in the last few months based on the things that I learned in my studies and in my own personal life, and it's 4 questions towards empowerment. So just as a review, the first 2 questions are, so you start with a problem in your life, something that you don't want. A lot of times we focus on what we don't want. And so the first question is to focus on, what do I want? What would I want to see here instead? Um, and the second question is, what can I do and what are my choices? A lot of times, again, we focus on what I can't do, but we forget that we have so many resources at our fingertips, like the computer, communities online, um, our friends, our family, and their resources. And yeah, we just don't think about what are my choices here? What can I do? So the third question is, why do I want that? So what do I want was the first one, and why do I want that? So sometimes we think, I want to make more money. Okay, so the problem is I don't make enough money. So then what do I want? I want more money. What can I do? What are my choices? There's a whole bunch of choices. And then why do I want that? Why do I want to make more money in the first place? And um, there's a lot of reasons why you might want to make more money. And it's so you write them all down. And then you think like, what is behind that? What is behind all of that? Like sometimes you think, oh, I want a new car, but what you really want is you want to feel like you've made it. You want to feel successful, and your current car doesn't, or you feel like you want to project a certain image. And that image, if you had that image in your head of, who you want to be, then you would feel confident, right? Or one that is in my somewhat recent past, in the first year of our marriage, pretty much, is I really wanted Neil to initiate sex more with me. But what I really wanted underneath that was to feel desired. And when I got to that, I realized that um, I didn't really feel desirable, and I hadn't really in my whole life. So that was interesting. So a lot of times there's desires under our desires. And so this question of why do I want that is not just about surfacey desires, but it's about underlying desires as well. Because that really gets to the root of it. So I know for me, for finances, underneath that, what I really want is security. So I don't just want more money, because you can make a lot of money and like spend a lot of money and still not have any financial security. Like, how many people have you heard of, that win the lottery and they're totally broke 3 years later? Or um, athletes that make like millions and millions of dollars a year and they claim bankruptcy or whatever. Like that happens, right? Money in doesn't necessarily mean more financial security. And so what do you want underneath your your desire? And then the last question is, how can I give that to myself? So if underneath your finance, like wanting more money, what you really want is security, it's like exploring what are other ways that I can feel secure? Or um, why do I feel like I need security? Like getting really clear on that base need. With my desirability, this was the biggest, a really huge breakthrough for me is with Neil, with like I expected him to make me feel desired and desirable. And if you don't feel desirable, it doesn't matter if like a million people desire you, you won't feel desirable. um, because you'll just block it all out. And so when I realized that what I really wanted was to feel desired, then I struggled for quite a few months to figure out like how can I desire myself? Like how can I know deep down that I'm desirable? And I worked for a long time on really loving and pleasuring my own body. Um, and like, how do I explain it? Like, not only loving, but celebrating every part of myself and my body. And through that, I realized, hell yeah, I'm desirable, actually. And by realizing that I was desirable, I could relax. Like every moment that he wasn't wanting to like have sex with me didn't seem to me like he didn't desire me anymore. It was like, oh, he's probably tired or busy or like also you can't want to have sex with somebody, you know, for your entire life, every minute of every day. Like there's other things in life other than sex. And so that's just not like sustainable. That's the word I'm looking for. That's not sustainable. And there was just this deep part of me that relaxed about it. And because of that, I was actually more desirable to him. And he felt a lot less pressure to like make me feel a certain way and fulfill something within me that he could never fulfill. And then he wanted to like have sex with me more. And that's totally how it works. Like if we start with the very base and we meet our own needs, like things seem to fall into place. Um, so a good way to also um, to figure out like why do I want something is to think, how do I think I will feel if I get that or have that? How will I feel? And the way that we meet our own needs is to like this is actually kind of now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually a really big topic for a mini class. I could talk for a long time about it, but Carl Jung talks about how we're a community unto ourselves. So we all have these different parts of us that can meet other parts' needs. Like an easy example is my inner child, which is the parts of me that feel young and scared and small, when faced with things. Like, I don't know, I'm just afraid that they won't like me, or like, oh, I don't want to be called names, or like kind of this little, I can feel like as I'm talking about, I can feel my whole body kind of like going like this. Like it's kind of acting it out. Anyways, and then there's this part of me often just wants to be loved no matter what and to be accepted and to have safety. And then there's a part of me that's also a mother. Um, and that part of me is strong and like it doesn't matter what other people think, you need to live your truth and blah, blah, blah. And so that part of me can meet this other part's need for love and for safety. Or, we often have a part of us that's like, no, you know what? This is really what I want. I know this is what I want. This is good. And, we ask for the raise or we break up with somebody or all these kind of things. And there's a part of us that's strong and can stay strong in difficult situations. And so we can draw on that to offer security and truth and clarity to the parts of us that are scared and uncertain. So that's kind of how you meet your own needs. It's a super basic overview. Sorry about that. I don't even know if it would make sense to anybody. I hope it does. Um, yeah, and another way to meet your own needs is to find it like in your daily life. So often we're like so focused on um, what we like that we don't have something. Like I worked with somebody a while ago and she said, I don't know what safety feels like. Like I've never felt safe. And I was like, okay, do you feel physically safe right now? She was like, hmm, yeah, yeah, I do. I was like, okay, so that's something. Like let's start with that. I was like, can you think of a time where you have felt safe? Maybe you were like by yourself on a beach or you were, with your dog or something and you felt safe. She's like, yeah, yeah, I can. I was like, okay. Have you ever been with somebody that you feel really safe with? Like anybody in your whole life, like maybe a teacher, maybe a babysitter, maybe a friend. And she was like, yeah, yeah, there is somebody I can think of. I felt really like super safe with them. I was like, okay. So sometimes these deep things that we desire, um, because we have this belief that we don't have them, we don't see them when we do, and we don't notice them. And so it's interesting, whatever that deep need is of yours, is to look around you for where you do have it, or how can you find it in other places. So other than this one problem in your life that you think you have, and you're looking to change that one thing to meet your needs, what are some other ways that you could find that need? So if you're looking for financial security, for example, and I'm not saying like that you I'm not saying that you shouldn't have financial security or you shouldn't get that new car, but it's just important to think about like why do you want it? I think we just forget that question a lot of times. Maybe financial security maybe isn't the best concept, but let's work with that. To say like, what areas of my life am I safe? Do I feel security in? You could be like, I feel security with my friends. Like I have a good group of friends and I trust that they love me for me, so I feel secure with that. And then maybe that part of you can start to relax a little bit and be like, I've already created security in one area of my life. I know how to create security, how to find security. How can I apply that to my finances? Or um, oh yeah, with like being desired, for example, as my own personal example, I started wondering like what are different ways that I can know that I'm desirable? So one of the ways was that I believe everybody's desirable. I think, you know, okay, there's a few exceptions I have like a lot of trouble with still, people that I think are really evil, and I don't really know what to do with that yet, but I think most people can be desirable, you know. Um, People are doing their best with what they have, and everybody has something beautiful about them and desirable about them. So that was one way, like, okay, kind of in a universal way. And another one is, now that I've recognized it, I could see in my past, oh, there's been lots of people that have desired me. Hmm, okay. And then, um, what about desiring myself emotionally? What about wanting my own opinion, seeking my own opinion, wanting to hear myself, what I think about things? So desiring myself emotionally or desiring myself mentally. And then all of that kind of helped to fulfill my need to be to feel desirable. And it's really interesting how creative you can get when you start looking for other options and when you start looking around you at all the different ways that we have to be desired. Oh yeah, another way, another thing that helped me feel desirable was to feel like kind of desired by nature. Like I am here on this earth. I am, a daughter of Mother Earth. And so I have the right to like live here and flourish here and do what I can in this world. And so, um, like I'm wanted here because I am here, basically. So yeah, those are some examples. So, okay, good. We still have some time left. So, um, anybody listening, is there a problem that you can think of, either yours or like a friend of yours, just like a problem that we could put through these questions and see what happens? I was trying to think before of like a problem that I could bring as an example, but I just did this recently and kind of solved my problems. So I have a hard time thinking of one right now. Um, just give me a second. Okay, okay. I've come up with one. So I, because of COVID, I haven't been doing my other job, which is a massage therapist, and I'm going to be starting back in July. Oh, yes, Roxy, I'm just going to do that right now. I'm going to go through the questions with my problem that I'm presenting. And part of me doesn't want to go back to massaging because I'm afraid that I'm going to be so busy again. Like before this, when I was working on my course and I was also working, I was so busy that if I had a hard time connecting with friends and having downtime. And because of COVID, I've had a lot of downtime and time to really focus on my studies and everything. It's been really nice. So now I'm worried that, building my coaching business plus massaging plus trying to do everything else, I'm going to be so busy that I'm not going to have any downtime. Okay, that's my problem. So, what do I want? What do I want instead? That's the first question. What do I want? So, what I want is I do want a massage again. I miss it and I love my clients. And I do want to work on my coaching business. I love my coaching business. And I do love and need downtime and time to just like read a book and eat cheesies, you know? So that's what I want. I do want to do both of those things, and I also want time to myself, and I want to make sure that I continue to take care of myself, like working out. Okay, so what can I do? What are my choices? Second question, what can I do? What are my choices? I'll run through them all at the end again as well. What can I do? Well, I can look into buying more prepped food so that I don't need to take as much time during my day to make food. I can plan once a week to go out in nature by myself, even if it's just for an hour to really just take time to chill out. Um, and something I've been doing lately is my like get it done Greta part of me. It's what I call her. She used to not let me enjoy relaxing time, but a while ago I kind of um, put that on my to-do list. So she makes sure that I take time to relax. And that's been working really well. And it works, now that I'm thinking about it, I remember that it works really well if I do it in 15-minute increments. Like I'll say, okay, my son's asleep. Before I do something else, something useful, I am going to read my book for 15 minutes. I'm going to set a timer. And that really helped me. So I can do that. I can also adjust my massage hours. I could not do massage again, which is not something I want to do. I could not work on my coaching business, which is not something I want to do. I could not take care of myself, which is not what I want to do. But those are choices that I have, but I don't want to do any of those. Um, I can also, what else could I do? What are my choices? Yeah, that's enough for the purposes of this conversation. The third question is, why do I want that? Why do I want to do my massage business, to, work on my coaching business and take time to myself to chill out? Because I want to be fulfilled. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to feel like I am fulfilling my value of um, one of my top 6 values is teaching what I learn and giving what I get. So um, I want to fulfill that value. And I also want financial security. And I also want to feel like I'm contributing to the household as well. I'm not a big fan of my partner being the only person earning money. That doesn't make me feel valuable in some ways. Okay, so great. How can I give those to myself? Those are really good questions, actually. I could see my own value more. I could value myself more and the work that I put into like being at home and doing stuff around the house has a lot of value that's a lot of times undervalued or underestimated. So I could see and recognize the value in that more. Um, Instead of me working to create more financial security, we could budget better and put aside more money for savings that way. Um, and so that's something that I could do as well. Like myself is like I could create that budget and do that. Um, oh yeah, to feel fulfilled. That's interesting. What if I have my massage business and my coaching business and I still don't feel fulfilled? How will I know when I'm fulfilled? How can I give more fulfillment to myself? And that brings me back to the time to myself because that brings me more fulfillment. When I have time to stop and reflect on my life and kind of digest things, it really does help me appreciate and find more fulfillment in the life that I have already instead of seeking more and more fulfillment because I'm not taking the time to enjoy the one that I have. Ooh, that's really interesting. I've never thought about it quite that way before. Um, yeah, there you go. So those are the 4 questions. I'm just going to go over them again. Number 1, what do I want? What do I want here instead? Number two, what can I do? Or what are my choices here? Where are my resources? Number three is why do I want that? How will I feel if I get this? What do I think it will give for me? How do I think it's going to change my life? And number four is how can I give those things to myself? The things that came up in question three. How else can I meet those needs? Or how can I just meet it like within myself? Because once you meet your needs within yourself, or if you have a myriad of ways of which to meet that need, um, the thing that you wanted so bad or your problem that was like such a big problem is not such a big problem anymore because you have other resources, you have other ways of getting what you want and what you need. That's not to say that you won't still want what you originally put in the first question. So often you will. Sometimes you won't though. So it's just good to ask these questions, right? Because often we just live our lives in such an unconscious way that we don't um I don't know, like man, just before I learned this stuff, like I never thought about like why do I want this? What do I think this is going to do for me? And like how else can I get this need of mine met? Like I just never it seems so obvious, but it was so revolutionary to me. It just was never something I learned. And man, it's really changed a lot for me, which is like why this is kind of one of my main messages, these four questions. Um, And if you want, you can go to my webpage, www.phoebed.com. And if you sign up for my emails, then you'll get those four questions in a paper, like, or sorry, the first, okay, let me start that again. If you go to my website, the phoebed.com, and you sign up for my emails, you'll get four tools to emotional empowerment. And this is the first one. These four questions is the first one. And that's why I just feel like it's really important and people don't think about it. So, yes, I hope that you learned something. I hope those questions are useful for you. And wow, I am way over time. I'm so sorry. I will chat to you next week. Next week, I'm talking about is it safer to be connected or disconnected to my body and sexuality? So I will see you next week. Talk to you then. Bye.